and they said, "Is it true that Trace is your dad?"
Oh, that's funny.
And I said, "Yes, absolutely it is."
Oh,
No,
that's the next best
that's the
lie.
next best lie.
He has shared the stage with Lee Brice, Jamie Johnson, Trace Adkins, and more. And he's got a new song out, guaranteed to make you cry. Adam Warner is here. Hey, Adam.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we finally got together.
Finally got to do this. I know we've bumped into each other a couple
Yeah.
of times here and there, and finally got you here in the studio. We got to talk about this new song, Split a Beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about writing this song, and then we're going to talk about that video because, oh man, bring out the Kleenex.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny way this song came about. We were actually on a writer's retreat back at my family farm, and we were on day 2. And the first day, we stayed up until like 3 or 4 in the morning and been writing. And the following day, this was probably around 10 o'clock or so, we were just all stirring, starting to have coffee. One of my co-writers was asking me, because he knew my grandpa and I were really close, and he was just kind of asking me about the property. Long story short, I was kind of telling him about the last week I spent with my grandpa, and I was like, man, it's actually right here in this room. And we were sitting outside on the screened-in porch, and I told him, I was like, man, I'm sitting where my grandpa was sitting, and you're sitting where I was sitting. I was like, this is actually the last place we split a beer. And as soon as I said it, we both kind of just like looked at each other and did the head tilt like a dog a little bit. And then I looked over at my friend Mark, and he was like, nobody say anything else. And he walked over and grabbed the guitar and walked outside, and he was just kind of like mumbling some stuff. And he was like, I don't know what we're going to say yet, but this is the melody. So he came back in with that melody, and then we started writing it. And it took about 2 hours, I guess, or somewhere around in there, and we had it all knocked out. And I think what took so long is we kept having to walk outside to get away from the song for a second because it was choking everybody
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of dedicated to those who've lost someone. We've all lost someone. The video is very, very moving. Tell me about the video and all of the people that are featured in that video.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, again, like I wrote it with my grandpa in mind, but also I wanted to do it in a way, the unfortunate part of life, the longer you're around, you're just going to end up losing people that are close to your friends or, family or whatnot. And I wanted to do it in a way where, we could recognize everybody that's gone through that. Mm-hmm. We put a message out on Facebook, and we asked if people could send in pictures of loved ones or friends who they would enjoy splitting one more beer with if they had a chance. So we ended up getting around 300 and some odd submissions, and I'm pretty sure we got every picture in there.
Wow.
And it was tough. It was, for me, like I saw a lot of familiar faces and then faces I didn't know as well, but it was a very, very cool video the way it came together, and it was an honor to be able to, honor their memory through my song. So.
Well, I did watch it, and I did need a Kleenex. So if you watch it, make sure you get the Kleenex. And so I kind of love like the contrast of that song being so emotional. Like you said, writing this song and yourself being emotional. You're a big, tough former Marine. I mean, you went from the farm to the Marines, and then how did you get into country music?
Music just in general has always been a part of my life. I started in a rock band, I think when I was like in 8th grade or something like that. Knew 3 songs and we wore them out. But in the Marine Corps, I was still writing music, obviously not as frequently as I am now. But when I got out, it wasn't really something that I thought that I was going to pursue as like a career path. I knew I was going to go to college, use my GI Bill, because that was my deal with my mom. She said, if you join, you have to go to college. Just promise me you'll go. And I said, okay. Kept my promise. And when I graduated, I went down at Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro. I just started writing again, and then ran into a couple like-minded guys who I still write with today. And really what got me my start is I wrote a couple songs, and one of them piqued the interest of one of my friends now, I can call a friend, Trace Adkins. He didn't end up recording it, but he brought me in, and I didn't know who I was meeting. And he it was at a football game. And so we were at a Titans game, and he was doing the national anthem that day. And my manager brought me up, and we went through all the back tunnels or whatever. And I was like, what in the heck is he taking me? And we got to this suite, and I didn't know anybody in there. And of course, Trace was on the field because he was singing. So we were sitting there, and after the anthem was over, I was just like, oh, this is cool. At least I got to watch a cool football game. And it's about that time I started feeling like somebody was like breathing on my neck almost. And I turned around, and my nose was about in his belly button. And I looked up, and I saw Trace Adkins, and I was like, oh, Mr. Atkins? And he looks down at me and he goes, get out of my suite.
Sounds like it.
I was a little scared at first. I was like, okay. And he was like, oh, I'm just joking. And then we started talking about that song, and he just said that he asked if I'd sang the demo, and I said, yeah, that was me. And he goes, man, if I was you, I'd think about, maybe putting that out yourself and seeing what happens. And so I figured if Trace tells you to do something like that, you might as well listen. Yeah. So that's kind of what got me started. Yeah, I've really been writing with the same core group of guys from the beginning. I mean, Mark Addison Chandler is a good friend of mine. He's also a Special Forces Army veteran. He co-produced that entire project and co-wrote, I think, 9 of the 12 songs. And then my friend Josh Gallagher, he was on The Voice. I always forget what season, but
there's so many of them.
So many of them at this point. But he's phenomenal. Taylor Goyette is another one, Barrett Baber, and then John Caldwell. And that's kind of like my little core group of guys, and we just really feed off of each other really well, and everybody really knows, everybody's style, so it makes it really easy.
So Split a Beer is one song on the album,
right?
How many songs on the album?
12.
12. Okay, 12.
Yeah.
That's like a regular size.
Yeah, I was
album.
pumped. At first, I was just gonna do an EP. We were gonna do like 6 songs, and then went to another writer's retreat, and we got like 3 more. And I was like, man, I think I'm gonna record a couple of these. And then before you know it, we were at like sitting at 9, and I was like, we might as well just go for the full 12.
There you go.
And then so we took back off to my farm one last time, and I think every song we wrote that weekend ended up getting cut. I know I got 2, and I think Mark's got 1, and I think Josh has got 1 too.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. So, okay, now you also have a song that we can hear when we go to Nissan Stadium for the Titans games. Yeah. Let's talk about that. I want to hear about it.
Welcome to the South. Yeah. That's another interesting song on how that came about too. It was, I was on my way to a write to Nashville, and my manager called me, and he was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, stuck in traffic. What's going on? And he was like, interesting phone call I just had. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, I just got done talking to John Robertson, the GM at the time. And he said they're looking for a new hype song for like their fan experience at the Titans games. And I was like, okay. I was like, does he have like a idea of what he's looking for? And he goes, nope. And I was like,
okay, that's helpful.
Perfect. That makes it easy, right? So I was just like, yeah, I was like, man, I'm on my way to a write right now. I was like, I'll throw those guys the idea and see if it's something they want to try to tackle. And I was writing with Trafton Harvey that day and Quinn Loggins. And I kind of was mulling around some ideas in my head, and I came up with Welcome to the South because I played football, and every coach always says, this is our house, we protect our house. And I was like, well, house and South rhyme, so.
There you go.
You got to start somewhere, I guess. And that's kind of where it came about. But yeah, that was one of those songs. It really wrote itself. Quinn and Trafton are so fast. I was just kind of like spitballing one-liners, and then you literally have to keep a phone on record the whole time because Quinn will just start going off on a tangent, and you're just like, oh, yeah. What'd you just say? He goes, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
So that's kind of how that happened. And I just, luckily I remembered that he's one of those guys, and I hit record, and he just started just pretty much sang the song like all the way through. And I was just like, I recorded all of that. And he goes, thank God, because I don't remember a thing I just said.
He was in the zone.
He was,
in the
yeah.
zone.
He's just one of those guys. He just starts feeling it, and you just got to be ready.
That is pretty awesome. So if you come to the Nissan Stadium here in Nashville, you're going to hear Adam Warner's song. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. That was cool, especially the first time. Just they let me be out on the field, and when they played it, that was one of those surreal moments. I was just kind of looking around. I was like, dang, this is crazy.
Like, is this really happening?
Right,
this
there's a lot of people.
All right, so you got the long hair.
Mm-hmm.
You did a remake of Charlie Daniels Band, Long Haired Country Boy, which I think is outstanding.
Thank you.
I mean, it's difficult. I know you said that before. It's hard to compare to the original, especially Charlie Daniels. But dang, I mean, you did a great version of that song.
Thank you. That's that's always been one of my favorites of his too. I remember my mom played it for me when I was a kid, and it was, I think, like maybe the 3rd or 4th song I ever learned on guitar, just because I liked it so much. And like you said, I was really nervous about re-recording that one, just because, I mean, it's Charlie for one, and how are you ever gonna come close to even matching that. But I wanted to do it, you know, keeping it as close to his version as possible, but also adding my own flavor to it as well without, you know, getting too crazy. And I was really proud of it. But again, I was, you know, kind of nervous to put it out just for that simple fact. I mean, even in my opinion, I was like, mine doesn't come close to what Charlie originally did. But I do enjoy playing the song, so
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a good experience.
No, it is fun. And so, all right. So with the long hair, I got to ask, since you were in the Marines.
Yeah.
So as soon as you were out of the Marines, did you just like immediately start growing your hair out?
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember I just had got back from my second deployment, and I was processing out, and they sent me to Quantico, Virginia. I was sitting in the first sergeant's office, and I think I had like 3 weeks left or something like that, and I hadn't had a haircut in probably 2 weeks. First sergeant walks in, he was like, "Warner." I was like, "What's up, first sergeant?" He was like, "I know we're getting out." He's like, "I can see that." He was like, "You haven't had a haircut in about 3 weeks." He goes, "Can I talk you into at least trying to fade it a little bit?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go to the barbershop." So I literally went to the barbershop and I was like, "Give me the lowest regulation hair." And it was literally like just an inch up. And I got in back to the office and he was like, "I appreciate the effort." So
There was effort at least there, right?
I had to appease it. Yeah. So
Okay, so now you've gotten to, like you said, work with Trace Adkins. So when I hear your voice, like it sounds like it's Adam Warner, like 100% it's you, but like I get these little waves of Trace Adkins and Brantley Gilbert.
Oh yeah, there's some growling there too. Yeah, that's a great compliment too because I love both of those guys, and I guess it's kind of like what do they call like a catch-22 because there's no greater compliment than being compared to somebody you really look up to.
Right.
But it's also like, well, I hope that's I'm not always going to be the guy that looks and sounds like a Trace a little bit. But no, I mean, we're right there. Trace, I don't think people realize until like we're side by side and they're like, "Man, you got a deep voice." And I'm like, when Trace is in the room and we talk, I still feel like a little kid next to that guy. I mean, his voice is so deep and it's crazy. But yeah, like and the raspy, that kind of comes from being in rock bands and stuff too. So that's a good one. I like the Brantley and Trace comparison. And I love both of those guys. So
I mean, would you ever collaborate with Brantley Gilbert?
Oh God, yeah, in a heartbeat. Yeah, Brantley. I've known Brantley for a couple years. I know his manager way better than I know him, but he's always been such a nice guy. Anytime I've met him, and he helped me out last year. There's a little kid from my hometown. And he's the biggest Brantley Gilbert fan in the world. And he has Down syndrome, and he puts his headphones on and literally will like put on a Brantley Gilbert concert in his backyard. And one of my friends from back home took some pictures of this kid, performing. And then Brantley was coming through Evansville, Indiana, which is only like an hour from where I grew up. I sent those pictures over to him. I was like, "Look, I know how hard it is to make time and do meet and greets. If you could meet this little kid," I was like, "Man, you would just make his world." Oh. And he sent me a message right back and said, send me their parents' names and a contact. So I said, "Sure thing." And they ended up making it happen. He got to meet him after the show. Wow. And they sent me the pictures and I was like, "All right, that's cool." That made me happy.
That is awesome. What a great story.
Oh yeah. Brantley's top-notch dude. He's a good guy. Love him.
That is awesome. Well, I want to hear you sing.
Yeah.
So we're going to get you to play. And if you guys want to see that performance, I'm going to put the link in the description so that you can see Adam Warner play his new song, Split a Beer. All right, now we're going to take just a tiny, itsy bitsy break. And when we come back, we're going to play my world famous game, Truth or Truth.
Ooh.
It's Truth or Truth.
Okay, time to play Truth or Truth. Are you ready for this, Adam?
I think so. I hope so.
All right, you get to pick your own question.
All right.
We're going to do a couple of them. You do one at a time.
Let's see here. What do we got? What's the best lie you've ever told anyone?
Uh-oh.
Oh, man. I'm not going to drop any names.
Right.
But I was playing a writer's round one time. I was playing with this kid. Somebody was like, "You got to give him a chance. Put him on. He's great." And I was like, "All right, cool." And he got up. And, man, poor guy, he couldn't carry a tune if he had a bucket full of them. But the best lie I ever told him was like, "Dude, you're great. Keep going.
Aww.
Do what you do." But I haven't talked to him in 5 years, so.
Okay. Well, but at least you were encouraging about it. I mean, that's like a good lie, right?
It's hard. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure other people hear me and they're just like, "What's up? What's this guy's what's all about him? He's not. I've had off days, I'm sure.
Well, we all do.
So
we all have
I
it.
hope they lie to me when I do.
Exactly. Well, you got to have the certain people that are your hype people
Yeah,
that will
absolutely.
lie to you. And then you get your other people that are like, look, I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
You go, okay, fine, I can take it.
Yeah, and he was a young kid too, so I felt bad like saying like, dude, you need vocal lessons. So I think he was like 18 at the time.
Oh,
so I
well,
was just
he'll
like,
figure it out.
Yeah,
He'll
he's
figure
got
it out.
time.
Yeah.
He's
He's
got
got plenty of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's see. What we
Let's
got
see.
here? I'm gonna go with let's see, this one. Strangest rumor you've heard about yourself. It's funny, actually. It has to do with Trace. Somebody sent me a DM on, I think it was Instagram, and they said, "Is it true that Trace is your dad?"
Oh, that's funny.
And I said, yes, absolutely it is. No.
Oh, that's the next best lie.
That's the next best lie. I didn't answer it. I just thought it was funny that I cracked up because I showed my wife and then I sent a screenshot to him. And he goes, God, I hope not.
I love him because he's like so harsh, but he
Yeah.
also is like,
Yeah.
he's got a heart of gold.
Oh, he definitely
You know?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, his humor cracks me up. I love his humor.
Okay, that's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to do one more.
One more. All right,
One more.
cool. Let's see what we got here. If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would you choose? You know, that's a tough one. But I would probably, might surprise you, I'd probably go with this group. They're called Elevation Worship, and they're a Christian band, and they have a song called Graves to Gardens. So I feel like if I was going to listen to one song for the rest of my life,
Right.
it'd probably be a good idea to pick one that was about God. So I think I would go with that one.
I like that answer a lot.
Well, thank you.
That's good. Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Well, good. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here, playing the
Yeah.
game, playing the song. If you
Absolutely.
guys want to hear the performance, the link is in the description. And of course, like and subscribe because, we love you.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thanks
Dad.
again for having me. I'm glad we made it work.
Absolutely. Good to see you here.
You too.
Thanks for watching Up in Country and supporting country music. You can continue to support us by hitting that subscribe button, sharing this video, or leave us a comment. And if you'd like to make a donation to keep the show going, there's a link in the description.